You know, we're in a time where there are a lot of different names for different, what they will call dysfunctions, medical dysfunctions, psychological dysfunctions. A lot of times we hear, and I've even said it, a narcissist. We've said all types of different things, okay, a sociopath. But I hear the Lord saying you need to call that spirit by its name. You see all these medical terms, that's what the world will call it. That's what the doctors will call it. But you see, when you're in prayer and you're trying to get free, you cannot call out a medical term. You can't call a spirit, any demonic force, by a medical term. That's how the world identifies it, okay? That's how the world may identify certain behaviors. That's how the world may identify certain strongholds and principalities. But when you are in prayer, you can't be calling it by a medical term because you ain't casting out nothing. It's in my spirit to tell you today to cast out the spirit by its name, to take authority by its name. And how do we know? Well, what name is it? Well, the very least you know, you can go to Galatians 5 and see some of the works of the flesh, okay, which we know is what? Fornication, adultery, okay? Because the world don't call sex before marriage and shacking fornication. We call it fornication, malice, strife, dissension, okay? So we have something to follow. You know, one thing is when Jesus was casting out the spirit out of the demon-possessed man, he said, "What is your name?" And he said, "Legion, for we are many." So you can say, we cast out legion in the name of Jesus out of my family, out of my home. I cast you out. The spirit of sickness, I bind you up in the name of Jesus. Any unclean spirit, that's what you know. Every unclean spirit, I bind you up in the name of Jesus. If you have a problem with your hearing, and you having a problem with your speech, I cast out that dumb and deaf spirit in the name of Jesus. Listen to me. We know legion. We know that one because they run in packs. And God will reveal to you exactly how you need to pray and exactly how you cast out these spirits. But stop calling these spirits by medical terms because you're not identifying them and you're not talking to them. I hope this makes sense to somebody. At the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. When you cry out the name of Jesus, every knee will bow. Everything in heaven, below the heavens, in the earth, and under the earth must bow the name of Jesus Christ. But stop using natural terms and medical terms to pray when you're praying for deliverance. Legion, we know that much. Any legion that have brought itself, legion of spirits, of demonic spirits, that has brought itself in my body, in my family, in my wife, in my husband, in my children, I bind you in the name of Jesus. I bind you and I cast you out in the name of Jesus. You have no authority. Spirit of blindness, I bind you. Spirit of sexual immorality, I bind you. Spirit of dissension, I bind you. Spirit of malice, I bind you. Spirit of emulation and variance and wrath, I bind you. You spirit that brings confusion and strife, I bind you. You spirit that brings perverted thoughts in the mind, I bind you. Spirit that brings angry thoughts, the spirit that keeps us bound and angry for days and weeks on end, the spirit that has brought division in my home and in my family for years, the spirit that brings a mother and a daughter against one another, I bind you. The spirit that brings a mother against the sons, I bind you. Unclean spirit, I command you to get out of my family lineage, out of my house. You will not set up shop in my life in the name of Jesus. The spirit that takes the sons at a young age, the spirit that makes daughters pregnant at a young age, I bind you. I command you to go in the name of Jesus. The spirit that has the father against the mother and the father that is abusive to the daughters and the father that's abusive to the son competing, I come against that unclean spirit in the name of Jesus Christ. The spirit of sickness, I come against you in the name of Jesus. Don't call that thing, oh, I come against the spirit of heart attack, or I come against the spirit of whatever. You're not talking to that spirit, because that's not its name. You're not talking to that spirit because that's not its name. Unclean spirit, perverse spirit. Identify it by the works of the flesh that you find in Galatians 5. And you ask the Lord to give you revelation of who you're dealing with. Because these spirits are persons. They're just unclean. You need to know what you're dealing with. And see, a lot of people, they scared of that. But I don't know, if you're scared, you're going to stay bound. Okay? But it's just in my spirit to talk to y'all about that, guys. I woke up this morning and some things were just going through my mind. I was thinking of some things. And then I realized, wait a minute. Hold up. If you find that there's a pattern across the board, maybe even with yourself, with those who came before you, and then it's trying to set up shop, whether it's sickness, whether it's disease, whether it's sexual immorality, whatever it may be, or things that you keep facing in your life, in relationships, things you keep going through, no matter where you work and no matter what you do, you find yourself being faced with the same scenarios. People are treating you the same way. It is a principality that's set up in your life to make you feel rejected, to make you feel neglected, to make you feel it's you, because look, you've been transferred to a job overseas and these people don't know you and they're treating you the same way. It is a spirit. Identify that spirit by the name. Use what you have by the word, by identifying them by Galatians 5. When the works of the flesh, take the time to look up the definition of those words and speak directly in the name of Jesus with authority. And it may not happen right away. You may not get a breakthrough right away, but you believe it. And whenever you engage, you identify that spirit by name. Because as long as you're calling it world terms and medical terms and what research says, that spirit will stay right there laughing, because guess what? You're not talking to me. It's just like you know what your name is. Someone can sit there talking and calling you something different. Not a nickname. They're not calling you by your name. So guess what? If someone is calling you by another name that is not your name, you're going to keep walking. You're not even going to turn around, because they're not talking to you. All right, guys.